welcome. It's a great honor and privilege to welcome you today to the Year of the Bell, the 200th anniversary of when the Portuguese bell was placed in our church tower.
No, sorry, was first rung.
First rung.
It had been placed in the tower earlier.
Had it. Thank goodness for Libby Oldham. Bravo! What would we do without Libby Oldham? Which, the first thing I will say is, for a complete history, which I should have read before I did this welcome, for a complete history of our beautiful bell, this incredible book, I would call it Libby Oldham's magnum opus. She spent hours and hours along with Paul Stewart, who digitized it. It's an extraordinary history full of lore and delights. Please pick up a copy. It's being sold in the back for $20. Thank you so much, Libby, and Paul. Paul's in the back,
Yes,
ready for his...
cast.
Yes, he's in the cast. So, we are here to celebrate our bell, the 200th anniversary of its ringing. The bell, which is so much mystery and lore and fable and delight and controversy has surrounded. What a wonderful thing to do to celebrate its past and to continue to celebrate its call into the future. We will also, after the play, 10 lucky winners from the raffle will ring the bell 20 times each until it's rung 200 times, and Ted Anderson will be parked out front at 7:15, where we will all have a wine toast, probably because it's raining in the foyer, and we will give a wine to Gretchen and Ted, who will be parked in their car and who will toast the bell to us as well. So we begin this wonderful celebration with a play written by none other than Ted Anderson as a way to celebrate this incredible and wonderful event. So, let us begin.
Let us begin. Welcome, everyone, and you will see in your programs in the middle there is a Nantucket bell song that we're all going to sing together. And the cast will be coming out in a moment. Yes, here they come now. And we're going to sing verses 1 and 2 at the beginning, and then at the very end we'll sing verses 4 and 5.
What news from your brother, Manny?
Not much. We haven't heard a thing since the army drove the French out of Coimbra. Last thing we heard, his regiment was headed south to join up with the British. Try to stop Napoleon from building a bridge across the river. Get supplies from the south.
This war does not end soon. We're going to have to melt down these bells and make cannon. What's his name? The Englishman.
Wellington?
Yeah, Wellington. Here the boss says Wellington wants more artillery for the defense of Lisbon. We might get another army contract. With the number of ships we have lost to the French, there's not much chance of getting the metal we need except from scrap.
Scrap? These bells aren't scrap. They are the best bells ever made in Portugal.
Maybe so, but who knows if they'll be paid for.
What do you mean? De Silva will pay. He is loaded. He practically built the church on the mountain in Braga all by himself.
If he's so rich, why didn't the boss let these bells go up to Braga last year when the Church of the Good Jesus of the Mountain was consecrated? They weren't paid for, that's why. The boss is an honest Christian, but there's no way he could afford to donate 4 tons of bronze to the church, to say nothing of the time it took for the casting. Remember, we spent 6 months making those bells. Somebody has to pay for that, unless you want to donate your pay.
Maybe you are right. Maybe De Silva is hurting in his pocket. The French took 3 of his ships last year. They were coming from India, all hauled out, ready to take the morning tide, and Boney's pirates took them.
Say, what's going on here? I pay you men to pound iron, not pound your gums. Look alive. And call me the minute De Silva arrives. He's coming to talk about those bells of his, or mine, until he pays.
Mr. DaCosta.
Ah, Mr. De Silva. I was just telling my men they might be paid soon. I hope you're here to buy the bell. I hope you have the money.
Plowshares into swords, eh, DaCosta?
Bronze into bread, De Silva, bronze into bread. If you can't pay, I'll have to do something. Unless something comes in, I will have to close up shop. I have nothing left to pay my men with.
Well, the Army doesn't pay these days either, DaCosta. You know that. These are hard times for us all. Times when faith is our only hope. One day I hope to hear these bells ringing out over a peaceful land and call people to prayer in the place where my own dear mother's prayers were answered. Changed my entire life. I promised her I would never forget that day, and I never shall. But do what you must. People need food for the body as well as the spirit. Good day, DaCosta.
Good day, De Silva. May there be better times between us.
Better times, huh? Down at the docks they're saying the Americans are ready to go to war with the British. What will become of Portugal then?
If the British sail off to America, we will never get a boat into Lisbon. They're all huddled down at the docks now, like scared little ducks. What will become of these bells then?
Look, here comes a couple of those Yankees now.
Look busy.
Look at those bells, Captain Clasby. I wonder if they're going up in one of the new churches.
Bells and cannon, Captain Carey. Those cannon would fetch a pretty penny in Boston if we ever went to war with the king again.
Oh, the king would buy them long before they ever got near Boston. There's some fine bells, though. What craftsmanship.
Not bad cannon either. I would like to take a few of them home.
And what will the Quakers say, Captain, when the William and Mary pulls into Nantucket loaded to the gunwales with instruments of war?
I'd be darn glad to have them if the British decide to stick their noses into the harbor one day. What makes you think the Quakers would be happy to see a shipload of bells? You know how they feel about music.
Oh, Mr. DaCosta.
Yes, sir.
Captain Clasby, the William and Nancy, Nantucket. This is Captain Carey, also Nantucket.
Jose Dominguez da Costa. How may I serve you, gentlemen?
With cannon and shot. Name your price.
Cannon and shot? I thought you men from Nantucket used harpoons on your hunt, not cannon and shot.
We're not a whale in this voyage. A bit of trading. Taking home some of your fine wines, a good shipment of cork. Cannon will fetch a good price for the frontier.
Cannon to fight Indians? But I regret, these are all for the defense of Lisbon.
Oh, come on now, Costa. I pay cash today.
Sorry, Clasby, I'm a Portuguese. Our army pays slowly, but it pays.
Look here, Clasby. The New South Church needs a bell for its tower. We'll never find any better ones than these. Certainly not in Boston. Revere may know how to ride a horse, but his bells aren't worth last week's bait. Most of them crack. Mr. DaCosta, are those bells for sale?
The bells? Yes, certainly.
Well, maybe try them out.
Absolutely, certainly.
Oh, listen to that one, Clasby. A perfect A.
This is the finest bell we have ever cast, the best in the set, gentlemen. You have made the perfect choice.
Don't you think that one's a little heavy for the tower, Tom?
Oh, we can always reinforce the tower, or build a new one for that matter. Timber's cheap. What's your price?
For the best, 200 pounds.
200 pounds? That's 1,000 American dollars. Well, we'll offer you $200.
Gentlemen, I thought you were serious about doing business. 800.
300.
Let's not beat around the bush. How much do you think your trustees would stand, Gary?
Well, not over $500. Nothing at all if Obed has his way.
$500 then, DaCosta, in cash, silver, and gold, upon delivery to the William and Nancy.
Let me see your money. Done.
Ah, Clasby, there you are. I've been looking all over Lisbon for you. How soon can you sail?
How soon can I sail, Mr. Ambassador? I wasn't planning to leave for a week, but we could sail with the tide if we had to.
You have to. We are at war with England.
Then we must leave as soon as possible, or our ship will be trapped here in Lisbon.
And hope to run past the British fleet offshore.
And get home before they set up a blockade around New England. Even worse than that, the Portuguese are allies of the British. They will impound the William and Nancy at dock in the matter of hours.
What about the Belle?
We'll take 2 hours to get the crew on board. You have that much time to load the Belle. If you can't make it, Mr. DaCosta will lose his sail.
Lend a hand, man. Get the wagon. Let's move.
Thank you, Mr. DaCosta.
Don't thank me. This sail will save my business. And my men know it'll save their jobs.
Here you are, Mr. DaCosta.
Thank you, gentlemen.
$500.
Thank you, gentlemen. Bon voyage. You may be my enemy now, but don't let my allies steal your bells. When it rings over Nantucket, let the people know that it was cast by Jose Dominguez in Lisbon. May our country soon be at peace.
May the whole world soon be at peace, Mr. DaCosta. Is the crew aboard?
Aye, but not the ambassador.
Oh, is he coming with us?
Here I am.
Make ready to cast off, then.
Scene 2, at sea aboard the William and Nancy. With not a moment to spare, the ship cast off from the port of Lisbon, with the Portuguese soldiers clamoring to inspect the cargo and reclaim the Belle to make cannon. An uneventful sail home to Nantucket is interrupted by a British man-of-war heading to Southampton. A rather unusual meeting is about to take place.
Another 2 weeks and we'll round Brant Point.
Aye, a happy day that'll be, especially for the ambassador. I've not seen his face since we set sail.
I thought I caught a glimpse of something green over on the rail yesterday.
Sail ho!
We're away.
After us, sir, and coming fast.
Let me know when you make her colors. We've been so lucky so far, Carrie. Slipping past that Britisher off Cabo de Roca. Might not be so lucky this time.
And there's 10 hours of daylight left.
Aye.
She's a Britisher, sir. A sloop.
Ah,
Looks like a man of war.
Oh, fiddlesticks, that's what you want to say.
Aye, fiddlesticks, Carrie. No point adding sail. We'll just have to try and bluff our way through.
Ahoy the William and Nancy.
Be cautious, Clasby.
Ahoy, indefatigable.
Captain Horatio Hornblower, HMS Indefatigable. What is your destination, Captain?
Captain Charles Clasby of the William and Nancy. Home to Nantucket, Captain Hornblower. And yourself?
To Southampton for orders. We have just come around the Horn, homeward bound like yourself.
They've been at sea for weeks. He may not know that we're the enemy.
How is the Horn this summer, Captain?
It is winter there, Captain, and a right miserable one. We lost 2 men when the force snapped in a gale. What is the news of the war? We've been at sea for 8 weeks without sighting a ship.
Thank God, Charles.
Wellington stopped Boney on the peninsula. It's as though Lisbon is safe from the old tyrant.
Good news. Smooth sailing home, Captain.
And the same to you, Captain Hornblower.
A narrow squeak indeed, Charles. And now we should have smooth sailing home to Nantucket.
Scene 3, back home in Nantucket, 1812. The Second Congregational Meeting House Society has called a special meeting to discuss the merits of purchasing the Portuguese Belle from Captains Carey and Clasby. And what will they do with it once they own it? The British are coming. again.
O Lord and Father of us all, protect this island and its people from the ravages of war that threaten us. Do not withhold the saving winds, keeping the British fleet from our shores. Chasten with storm and gale those who would shatter the peace of this tranquil people. Stand beside those brave mariners of ours who have left wives, parents, and children to serve their country and save our freedom from the grasp of the wicked King of England. Keep this ever the land of liberty, and while our gallant soldiers and sailors endure the dangers of sea and battle, may those of us remaining at home be firm in our resolve, bearing patiently whatever hunger the British blockade may inflict upon us, overcoming fears for our country and fears for our loved ones, fed by rumor and true report alike, and serving thee, may we be thy chosen vessels, establishing freedom and right, peace and justice for all. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Swift. Mrs. Mitchell, are you the clerk of the society? Will you affirm that there is a quorum present?
I affirm there is a quorum present to transact legally the business of this society, Madam President.
So be it then. This special meeting of the Second Congregational Meeting House Society will come to order, please. Our first order of business, as you've all undoubtedly heard, is a report from Captain Tom Carey, recently returned from Portugal aboard the William and Nancy. Captain Carey.
Yes. Madam President, members of the Society, while in Lisbon, Captain Clasby and I purchased a rare, fine bell appropriate for the steeple of this church. We offer it to the Society for just what we paid for it, $500. Charles and I will contribute the remainder of the costs, shipping, customs, etc.
Thank you, Tom. Is there any discussion?
I think it would be wonderful to have a bell. It could ring for services, weddings, christening, all sorts of things. We've been dreaming of a bell. I move we buy it.
Eunice has been looking forward to marrying Reuben Swain's boy. That's what she's been looking forward to.
I second that motion. We could ring the bell to sound the alarm in case we sight the Britishers or in case of a fire or shipwreck.
Minister's wife should be seen and not heard.
Benjamin Coffin, I don't care if you are my brother-in-law. You are not going to disrupt this meeting with any of your poor taste jokes while I'm in charge.
Tom, $500 is a good sum of money. Don't you think you paid too much for it?
I don't think so, Lucretia. I have the bill of sale right here. And I doubt that Paul Revere could cast a bell for any less.
Well, I think $500 is an expensive bit of noise. And how are we going to pay for it if we do decide to buy it?
The Sewing Society will pledge $50.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Ladies.
And so will the Ladies' Alliance.
What? Just to tell the world what it already knows? That church is on Sunday?
Oh, but stop your groaning. If you had your way, nothing would ever get done on this island as long as it cost a red cent. Obed and I pledge $15 for the bell.
And I, 25 to my brother's Portuguese venture. Tell everyone what the inscription says, Tom. They may want to know before they vote.
Oh, yes, I have the translation right here. To the good Jesus of the mountain, we devoted people of Lisbon direct our prayers and offer him one complete set of 6 bells to call the people to worship him in his sanctuary.
So there were 6 of them, eh?
Mm-hmm.
This had better be the best of the lot.
We may not have a mountain, but it will sound just as good here as it would someplace in Portugal.
And we have as much need to be called to prayer as they do, especially in view of the impending invasion.
As I calculated, we have $140 already pledged. We're off to a good start if we vote to buy the bell. Are you ready to vote?
Just one more thing, Elizabeth. How much does it cost, Tom? How much does it weigh?
Oh, well, there's just over 1,500 pounds of bronze in that bell, Obed.
33 cents a pound? For bronze ain't bad. Not these days. I'll pledge 150. And Ben Coffin will pledge $15 for making bad jokes. And you'd better pay up, Ben.
Wonderful. Are we ready? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mrs. Mitchell, record a unanimous vote. You have a sale, Tom, and we have a bell.
Now what are we going to do with it?
What do you mean, Cyrus? We're going to hoist it up in the steeple and have her ready to ring by the time Seth and Valina have their baby.
And if the English come, you don't think they'll pass up 1,500 pounds of bronze, do you?
You've got a point there, Cyrus.
Let's hide it until after the war.
Where?
Well, we could keep it down in my cellar on Pine Street. I'll have the crew of the William and Nancy haul her over there tomorrow. But we can't sail out as long as the gale we've all been praying for keeps blowing anyway.
I think that's a wise idea and a kind offer, Tom.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Now, let's get busy raising the rest of the money. We still have $350 to go.
Let's try popular subscription too. I'm sure some of the folks in town will want to help buy it. Even if they don't believe in musical instruments, the Quakers will see the practical use of a bell as an alarm.
Good idea. Obed, your partner, friend Mitchell, might be persuaded.
He's my cousin, I know he would. And maybe put some of us to shame with his generosity.
If there's no more business, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Well, Valina, it does not look like the bell will be quite ready to ring for our firstborn, but maybe for our second.
It's all right, honey, I can wait.
Scene 4, Nantucket, 1830. The bell has been doing yeoman work in the meeting house tower for 15 years now, tolling the hours, special events, alarms, and the call to worship. Word has spread to the Old South Church in Boston that Nantucket has a fine bell with a beautiful tone, perhaps too fine to remain on the little island of Nantucket. Let's eavesdrop on the conversation among the Meeting House Society members.
We have a letter from Old South Church in Boston. I will read it to you. To the Second Congregational Meeting House Society, Nantucket. We have recently installed a very fine clock in our tower by which the citizens of Boston may know the time. We desire to purchase a bell to strike the hours and have learned that you have a very fine bell in Nantucket. A fine bell deserves to strike the hours within the hearing of as many people as possible, and to share its years with an excellent chronometer such as ours. We would be willing to pay $1 per pound for your bell. Yours respectfully, Trustees, Old South Church.
$1 a pound? That's not bad. 1,545 pounds, that's almost as much as we paid for our church. Triple our investment in 15 years.
Never change, do you, Obed?
Don't forget, it took a lot of work to pay for that bell. And a lot of townsfolk, not even connected with the church, donated $150. We can't just up and sell it.
The bell has proven itself important in this town over and over again, just as a fire alarm it is well worth keeping.
May I speak?
Certainly, Jared.
This bell's important to me. It rang for the first time on the day I was born, December 18th, 1815. It has rung for every important event I have ever known since. Nantucket would not be Nantucket without the Portuguese bell.
Nantucket was Nantucket long before you were born, young fellow.
And it will be long after we're gone, Obed. It has rung out a lot of our friends, old Ben, Miss Mitchell, my brother. They were all here when we bought the bell. We owe the past something as well as the present and the future. I hope the bell is here to ring me out when my time comes.
I have an idea. Let's reply to the Old South Church in the great hub of the universe and make them an offer. Tell them we realize it's important for a bell to have a clock. We have a bell but no clock. Let's see if they will sell us a clock for $1 a pound so it can go along with our very fine bell.
So moved. It would be worth $1,545 just to see those fine Boston faces drop when they read that.
I'm going to make you and Obed a committee of 2 to investigate the possibility of having a clock made to put in the tower. I think those Boston people may have a good idea, but I doubt they will sell their clock.
Good idea, Eunice. Obed, why don't you go around to see Mr. Folger? He might be able to figure out something. He sure is a clever man.
What about Obed's motion?
Oh, for heaven's sake, Eunice, we passed that a long time ago. We are not going to sell our bell.
Scene 5, July 13, 1846. It's a very hot, very lazy night in summer up in the meeting house tower. The boys up there on fire watch are trading stories and banter to pass the time. They are about to become very wide awake.
Some hot night, eh, Bob?
Yup, Alvin, somewhat.
Won't need no fire to keep warm, that's for sure. I have to bottle some of this heat up and save it for February.
Yup. Could've used some last February, all right.
You want to take the first watch?
Nope, but I will.
Any breeze up there?
Not so you'd notice.
No shipwrecks tonight in this dead calm, that's for certain.
Never can tell. The Elizabeth went ashore on Great Point 2 years ago in a dead calm.
Yep, I remember. Load of lumber, wood all over the beach. Built myself a new sheep pen with some of it.
For God's sake, Alvin, what you doing down there?
Darn seals.
Alvin, I think I see a glow down the back of that hat shop on Main Street. Yup, ring the bell, Alvin. Alvin!
I heard ya.
Ring the bell then, we got us a fire going. Keep it ringing, she's going good. Where are they? Oh, for gosh sakes, they're not getting hooked up. Keep ringing, Alvin, we'll need everybody for this one.
My arms are falling off.
We got us a humdinger. The boys are fussing with each other instead of putting it out. Darn idiots! My God, it's spreading fast. Let's get out of here. If it spreads like that one did 3 years ago, we could get cooked up here. Come on, let's go.
4.
For what?
4 years ago. That's when the town
All
burned.
right, 4 years ago. Let's go.
Scene 6, Nantucket, 1880. Nantucket is becoming a vacation destination for the wealthy and famous. What a surprise. The local town crier / boat lookout / character is about to meet some very important people.
Read all about it. Another severe murder in New York. Man kills wife, then kills himself. Both dead. Meat auction tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Folger's Market.
Billy, you seen the president yet?
Which one?
Why, General Grant. He and his wife are staying at the Ocean House.
Oh, General wants to see me, does he? Well, I'm not surprised.
Well, you ought to thank him when you see him, Billy.
Thank him? What for?
Why, for coming to Nantucket in time for your birthday.
Is that your summer birthday or your winter birthday, Billy?
With all the birthdays I've had, you'd think I'd be a centenarian. But nope, I got too much to do to fool around with them initiations and secret handshakes.
Billy, there's someone here to meet you.
Of course he would. Who is he?
Why, Billy, don't you recognize General Grant? And this is his wife, Julia.
Oh, you can call me William, ma'am.
How do you do?
Our pleasure, William. I'm told you're the man to see about the bell.
If I'm not, I don't know who is.
Every morning since I've been here, that bell wakes me up at 7 o'clock. It goes all berserk and rings forever. What is that all about?
Yep, 7, noon, and 9 at night. 52 times. First to be at work. It's no wonder nothing gets done in Washington if the president's still in bed at 7. I thought only drunks stayed in bed that late. Well, then at noon, to come home for lunch. Then 9, the curfew, home to bed. Though there's some around here who don't have enough gumption to lift their lazy bones up off the bench to lug them home.
Why 52 times, Billy? Julia heard it was for the 52 weeks in the year. But being an old poker player from the Army days, I'd like to think it's for the 52 cards in the deck. But I suspect it's just the bell ringer isn't playing with a full deck.
I'm the bell ringer, General, and I know the real reason, which is more than I can say for all those summer people who make up stories when they don't know an answer. It takes just 3 minutes to ring the bell 52 times. Town told me to ring it for 3 minutes. But in winter, when it's cold, I hate to take my mittens off and freeze my fingers fumbling for my watch. So I just count 52 rings.
Is there any chance that you can take us up in a tower and we can see this famous bell?
Don't see why not. I'm going up there now to see if I can spot the steamer coming. Let's see. Well, you'll have to leave that cigar here, General. No smoking up there. Keep it coming, I know.
Ooh, quite a climb.
Yes. Steep stairs.
Yes, indeed. What a view, though. There's a great point right over there.
Yep, and Sankety over there, and then Tuckanuck out western.
Oh, you can see the whole island from, oops, sorry. See the whole island from here. Wish I'd had a lookout like this at Vicksburg.
That's why we keep the fire watch up here. You can see everything, even as far as the Cape, eh? There she is, the steamer. It looks like the island home.
Hark, hark, I hear Billy Clark a-tootin' from the tower. He sees the boat and she's afloat and she'll be here in an hour.
Time to go down, Mr. President. Gotta meet the steamer. I'm a town crier, too, you know. What would folks say if the town crier missed the boat?
Thank you, Billy.
Yes, thank you for a very exciting adventure.
It will be exciting, all right, if you don't get out of here soon. The bell's about to ring.
Scene 7, Nantucket, 1978. Well, we've arrived in the late 20th century. The Portuguese bell has been ringing and ringing its gorgeous voice for 163 years, and it needs some adjustments so that it can keep ringing on into the 21st century. A very special lady has arrived from the Whitechapel Bell Foundry in London to make the necessary changes. The amount of work required will seem daunting, but she and the local crew will prove more than up to the task.
When you said I'd recognize you when you came off that boat by that wrench you had over your shoulder, you meant a wrench, didn't you?
My spanner never stand a girl to do a woman's job.
Well, what do you think?
What a beautiful bell, cast by the lost wax process. Quite unlike the bells we're used to in London.
What do you mean the lost wax?
Well, the founder made a wax model of the bell and made a clay mold around it. Then fired the clay and that melted the wax. Then he poured melted bronze into the cavity. He had to break the mold to get the bell out, so it's one of a kind. DaCosta knew what he was doing. That bell did not even need to be tuned when he was finished.
How do you tune a bell?
Grind metal out by the most laborious process known to man until the tune is true. That's one of the worst jobs in the bell foundry.
What has to be done?
Well, look how thin the bell has been worn here from being struck in the same spot for a century and a half. Has to be turned and struck in another place or it'll crack in a few years. That's one thing, but look at that's old clapper.
What is it? Like a cannonball welded onto an old axle?
Well, could be. The bell probably came without a clapper, so a local blacksmith rigged up a temporary one in 1815 and has been temporary ever since. It's far too short, strikes too high in the throat of the bell. We'll get a proper clapper. This one's about gone anyway.
I'll have to go down now. I'll see you at supper, Linda.
Later that evening.
Hi, Helen. Just left your house guest.
Oh, hi, Ted. I've never met anyone like that Miss Woodford.
Is everything all right? It's awfully nice of you to put her up.
Well, I guess everything's all right. I never see her to find out. She's up at 4 in the morning and she goes running for 2 hours. I don't know where she finds the energy. She's such a tiny little thing doing all this heavy work.
I've noticed she has a healthy appetite, Helen. She starts breakfast with half a dozen eggs and a quart of orange juice, and then moves on to a box of Weetabix and half a gallon of milk, and starts breakfast in earnest.
Oh, Ted, more bad news.
Not a crack.
Oh, not yet. Good morning, Miss Powell. Oh, but there will be if we don't do something. There's an iron ring as big around as a Polish sausage cast in the crown of the bell to hold the clapper. It's rusting.
Iron expands when it rusts with terrific pressure.
And we'll split the crown if we don't drill it out, right?
Right. I've got to drill through 11 inches of solid bronze and iron with a hand drill as big around as the ring to remove it.
Good grief, that's what, 1.25 inches in diameter with a hand drill?
Huh, only 1 1/8 inches. If I start this afternoon, I might be able to finish by tomorrow night.
Well, fetch the Weetabix. Looks like we'll be busy for a while, Helen. See you later.
Goodbye, Miss Powell.
Ah, here comes the crew. Dick Carey and Augie Ramos. We'll need all the help we can get to hoist these new parts up.
How did they ever get the bell up there? It is 3 times as heavy as the headstock.
40G power. We'll yank the bell up the outside wall, and it's too heavy to fit up the stairwell anyway. It wouldn't fit.
Well, have at it, boys.
And that's just what they did. Hauled the works up the outside of the tower with much strength and concentration and probably some colorful language to help lighten the load.
Well, Linda, what do you think?
That should do it for another century and a half.
Well, we'll let the folks that are around then worry about that. You know, Linda, this bell means a lot to a great many people. The church owns it, which means it's our responsibility, but it really belongs to everyone who's ever heard it. DeCosta certainly wasn't a Unitarian, and neither are you, for that matter. All the work we've just done to keep her ringing was made possible by a gift from a person who's not even a member of the church. I hope people will always take an interest in things like bells. Not just in this bell in Nantucket, but everywhere. Far better bells than bombs.
Whitechapel Bell Foundry's been in business since 1402. It will still be in business in 2128, when the bell has to be turned again.
Well, we'll let someone else take care of that. Hey, how about a round of ale to celebrate our success?
Suits me down to the ground.
Now you're talking, Ted.
And here we are in 2015. So much has changed on this island, and yet so much is still the same. The bell endures. It rings us through our days, through our years, and through our lives. We are here together to celebrate 200 years of history, 200 years of that beautiful voice ringing out over our very special island.